Welcome to As a Matter of Faith, brought to you by Altered States, the internet ministry committed to starting each weekday with the good news of the gospel. I am your host, Preacher Bob. Now, I'm not good with tools. Hand tools, especially those that are powered or they have sharp edges or are pointy, well, that's usually enough to turn any home improvement chore into a trip to the emergency room. My father, however, he was one of the greatest fix-it guys I've ever known. I was always convinced that if a UFO crashed in our front yard, Dad could have made it space-worthy without any trouble at all. Even though working with tools is not my strong suit, my dad did teach me the fix-it man's creed. And that is, if it works the first time, then you've done something wrong. You know what I'm talking about. You follow the directions to a T. Whatever the product is, when you flip the switch, it just doesn't work. I don't usually get all that upset when something old doesn't work. We expect old things to wear out, but something we just fixed or installed, well, that's when we lose patience. Thankfully, there is such a thing as a warranty. A warranty, well, that's just one thing that God simply doesn't need. God's word, God's intentions come with a guarantee that they'll always work. Through the writings of Isaiah, we have God's promise. The word that goes from my mouth will not return to me empty, but will achieve that purpose for which I sent it. Oftentimes, however, we stumble over that innocent little adverb, always. If God always works, then why hasn't He healed my cancer? If God always works, then why do thousands of children starve every day? Why are so many unborn aborted? Why is there so much violence? You know how it works. How come God didn't? And then you just fill in the blank. So how do we know when God's word doesn't work? In the same section from Isaiah, God says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than yours, and my thoughts than your thoughts." All we really know is that God's word hasn't worked yet, or it hasn't worked according to our plan. God's word, you see, is powerful, it's effective, it's dynamic rather than static. It's a living thing. And God gives that to you and I as His solemn promise. He says, just like the rain waters the earth, so is the word that comes from my mouth. As a matter of faith, trust in the effectiveness of God's word. Read, listen, share God's word, and I guarantee, no, I take that back, God guarantees that His word will work.